Well, what a game that was. I'm so glad I got up early to watch it. Well worth the watch. It was 1 a.m. UK time, so I'm pretty tired getting this right out to you. I hope you enjoyed the game. The Texans defense turned up hard, and Josh Allen and the rest of the Buffalo Bills could not handle that pass rush from Anderson and Hunter and the rest of the Texan team. With that being said, they opened up the game with a touchdown. James Cook on the ground gets the Bills opening up the play with the touchdown on the very, very first drive. From there, I thought, because my prediction was that the Bills would win this match, if any of you watched the previous video, I thought the Bills would come out as narrow victors of this game. And when I saw the first touchdown, I thought, well, yeah, business as usual. They're going to go in, they're going to win. They missed the kick. The Texans return the kickoff with a very, very big run, which leads to a drive from the Texans that nearly ended with an immediate reply touchdown. Unfortunately for the Texans, it ended in a field goal. But from that point, you could see that they were right into this game. They weren't going to go away very easily, and that the Buffalo Bills were in for a really difficult night. It's more of the same for Josh Allen in the second quarter, where he gets hit very, very early on in the first drive, which is yet another sack. And I think they ended up hitting him 8 times for loss of yards. So 8 sacks in this game for the Texans. And Josh Allen was, of course, on the receiving end of that. So off the back of that, they were, of course, forced to punt, giving the ball back to the Texans. And the Texans' defense was relentless, forcing fumbles, forcing turnovers. So many times the Bills had to punt back to them. It was a really, really tough game. And all of a sudden, Mills, he's done all right in this game. He's had an average game, but all of a sudden he has a really, really good drive, which leads to a touchdown for the Texans, piling yet more pressure on the Buffalo Bills. And if there wasn't enough pressure on Josh Allen with Anderson and Hunter hunting him relentlessly, no pun intended, but they were hunting him down relentlessly, the pressure just escalated again because now they were losing the game. Allen then throws a pick and the Bills do really, really well to stop the Texans getting another touchdown. Just when you think the writing's on the wall, the Buffalo Bills, Davis gets the kick return, runs 98 yards to the end zone, putting the Bills back in the lead. Going into halftime, I'm there thinking, okay, now they're going to pop. The special teams have showed up. The defense is doing really well for the Bills, keeping them in the game. With this special teams touchdown, the Bills are back in it, and I couldn't see them losing from here. Again, after I should have known that the writing was on the wall, but I couldn't see them losing from here. However, straight afterwards, I think it was a minute or so left on the clock, the Texans get the ball straight to the other end for another touchdown, and they go into halftime leading the game. Unfortunately, they come out in the second half and Allen's sacked again, though the Texans defense were just getting at him again and again. Like I said, it was a relentless display it must have been so difficult for Josh Allen to play against that team, and no wonder he struggled in the pocket because the rush was coming thick and fast. They only stopped them a few times, so he gets sacked, and then he throws a ball which is caught, unfortunately for the Buffalo Bills I should say, was fumbled, and the Texans come away with the ball. However, the Bills defense did really, really well again. They stopped them getting a touchdown, so it was another 3 points for the Texans, keeping the Bills in the game. And then it's to and fro for a little bit, 3 points again from the Buffalo Bills to take it to a 1-score game. And the last drive was insane. It was, I couldn't believe what I was watching. So you get sacked again, they make some yardage, you get sacked again. Then the best play comes out, 3rd and 27. Allen gets the ball. It's 3rd and 27, so obviously there's a big gap in the middle of the field. I always think it's really hard on that sort of play when it's later on in the game. It has to be a deep shot. So what do? Do you go really deep? Or, if you go too narrow, they'll just chuck over a screen and run the ball. If you go too deep, they'll throw it into the midfield or even get a run and for lots and lots of yards. And this time what they did is they threw the ball. It was a great play, and it was a catch and a pop and a first down. And I thought, again, here I was like, okay, we're on the last drive of the game. The Texans have had a really good game, but they might end up losing this game still. And I thought it would be really cruel on the Texans if it did. But Anderson showed up again. He comes up, and at the very next play, I think the Bills set up a really good play. And if Josh Allen had got the ball out to Shakir, I think they would have been in for another first down and probably would have ended up going on to score and winning the game. However, Anderson batted it down. Well, actually, he tried to catch it and intercept the ball, but it didn't matter. It was batted down. Off that, the last play of the game for the Bills ended in an interception, which really summed up the game for Josh Allen. And, some people will turn around and say, well, maybe it was Josh Allen that allowed the Houston Texans defense to look so good. I should say Josh Allen and the offensive line, who got really, really beaten up today. So quite a few of their players went off injured. They were really getting roughed up by the Texas defense. But I just don't buy that. I just buy that Anderson and Hunter were like men possessed today, and the rest of the defensive line were possessed today. The whole of the defense for the Texans just made it so difficult for Josh Allen that he was not comfortable in the pocket, which led to mistake after mistake, which led to turnover. And at the end, it was just enough for the Houston Texans to come away with the win. But what a game. I'm so glad I woke up early in the UK. Like I said, it's 1:15 was the kickoff in the morning. I got up and watched it. I'm glad I did. But what does this mean? So now that the Houston Texans are at 6-5, it puts them in a solid position to make that wild card, leaving the Kansas City Chiefs in the air, really. They need a lot of teams to do them favors. They got a tough run in. They got the Colts this weekend. I'm going to cover that match because I think it's going to be the game of the weekend. I just fancy the Colts to win it. I think there's too much pressure on the Chiefs now to get past teams like this. I mean, we never know, right? It's the Chiefs. They can go on a win streak and no one would be surprised, right? And when they get into the playoffs, they're a playoff team. Anything can happen. But the teams around them are starting to do really well. I mean, the Ravens are 5-5. Houston have just got to 6-5. The Jags are ahead of them. I can't see for the first time in many years, I can't see the Chiefs making the wild card or the playoffs or even the wild card. And this game was really big for them. It was a big win. I mean, the biggest winners was, of course, the Texans, and the biggest losers of this game, as well as the Buffalo Bills, were the Kansas City Chiefs, because I think that puts them in a really tricky position. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Was it more to do with Josh Allen, or was it more to do with the Texas defense as to why they ended up winning this game? I want to know your thoughts. If you're liking what you're seeing, please hit subscribe and support my channel, and I'll see you for the weekend's football matches.